This is class 7 English literature. Good morning, students. We'll start our class today with the poem Just Me. It is written by Tom Cross. Tom Cross is internationally recognized as one of the greatest vocal artists today. He was equally successful in the fields of opera, recital, oratorio, and recording. During a career spanning over 50 roles, Cross had performed in most of the great opera houses of the world. Just Me is a poem come song. Tom was a great vocalist and wrote on issues that interested him. With an easy rhyme, Just Me has a sing song quality. It continues to be a popular poem among readers of all age groups. Now I'm reading the poem. From the time I was little, I knew I was great, 'cause the people would tell me, you'll make it, just wait. So, ever since, the poet is saying that ever since he was a small boy, he was confident that there is something great about him. He's going to do something great because all the people around him, his family members, and everyone told him from the beginning that he has some great talent in him and he would do something great in life. But they never did tell me how great I would be if I ever played someone who was greater than me. So nobody told him that how great it would be, how much successful he would be if ever he played with someone who was more capable than him. When I'm in the backyard, I'm king with the ball. The poet is saying that when he plays the game alone in his backyard, he is there's no one to oppose him, so he plays very well. To swish all those baskets in is no sweat at all, but all of a sudden there's a man in my face. So when the poet is playing in the backyard, he has no one to oppose him and he plays freely. He can throw the ball in all the baskets. But all of a sudden, there's a man in my face who doesn't seem to realize that I'm king of this place. And suddenly, when the poet refers to the stress of being in a match, then he has a kind of a pressure in him. So the pressure gets to me. I rush with the ball. My passes to teammates could go through the wall. My jumpers not falling, my dribbles not sure. So when the poet is playing a game, um, when he's playing with other teammates, then the game is really different. And he reacts badly to the stress by blaming the referees and the coach and his teammates, but not realizing his own follies. My jumper's not falling, my dribble's not sure. My hand is not steady, my eye is not pure. So there are certain drawbacks in the poet when he actually plays the game with his teammates. The fault is my teammates, they don't understand. So in the beginning, for all his weaknesses, the poet blames the referee and his teammates. The fault is my coaches. What a terrible plan. He blames the coaches. The fault is the call by the blind referee. He blames the referee also. But the fault is not mine. I'm the greatest, you see. The poet here in the beginning was overconfident about himself, so he could not see his own weaknesses and he was blaming his teammates, the coach, the referee, and others. Then finally it hit me when I started to see that the face in the mirror looked exactly like me. So, when the poet started realizing his weaknesses, he started realizing when he saw his own face in the mirror, he started understanding that the fault is his and there is a lot of room for improvement, that he could play much better. He should stop blaming others for his mistake. but the fault is not mine. I'm the greatest, you see. These lines tell that in the beginning he did not see his own weaknesses. Then finally it hit me when I started to see that the face in the mirror looked exactly like me. When he saw his face in the mirror, he realized that his weaknesses lie in him. It wasn't my teammates who were dropping the ball, and it wasn't my coach shooting bricks at the wall. He realized that it was not his teammates, but there were certain follies which were committed by him. That face in the mirror that was always so great had some room for improvement instead of just hate. And he realized that he should bring improvements in himself and not keep blaming others. So I stopped blaming others and I started to grow. My play got much better and it started to show. So once the poet realized that he has to improve upon his weaknesses, he started training himself, he started improving himself, and I started to grow means he started to improve himself and to give a better performance. My play got much better and it started to show. His improvement brought the positive result. And all of my teammates didn't seem quite so bad. And now he didn't blame his teammates. He started finding out his own weaknesses, his own shortcomings. I learned to depend on the good friends I had, and he learned to play and cooperate with others. He developed the sportsman spirit. Now I like myself better since I started to see that I was lousy being great. I'm much better being me. So now he's found himself to be a better person. He's become a better player, and he now has is started giving a much better performance. And he was earlier he could realize that earlier he was lousy. There was something terrible. There was some weakness in him, but now he's much better as a person and as a player. So the poem starts with the poet when he's playing in his backyard, when he's playing all alone. He doesn't find any weakness in himself. He has no pressure. And then he plays to his own satisfaction. But when he's playing with others, he starts blaming others. And it was later when he sees himself in the mirror and starts to realize that there is a lot of scope for improvement in him, then he brings the improvements and his performance improves. So this is what the poem is. We'll do some fill-ups with one word each to complete the summary of the poem. Since he was a boy, the poet knew he was great. He had been told by many people that he would do very well. When he played in his backyard, he played very well. But in a game, he did not perform well. He blamed his teammates, the coach, and the referee for his own faults. He could not be responsible as he was the greatest. But one day, he faced a mirror and found that he was to blame. All the problems were due to his poor performance. He realized that he needed to improve. That was when he started to grow. His play became better. He learned to depend on his friends and to like himself. He stopped being great and learned to be himself. So, this is the summary of the poem. Now, we'll take some lines of the poem. So, the pressure gets to me. What kind of stress is the poet referring to? So, the poet is referring to the stress of being in a match. When he was playing all alone, there was no stress on him. And he was the king of his game. But when he was playing a match with others, there was a lot of stress in him. Why is he under stress? Now, the poet is under pressure since he's used to playing well with no opponents in front of him in his backyard. But it's different when he's actually facing someone, when he's playing with his teammates, when he's facing his opponents, then he is under a lot of pressure. How does he react to stress? He reacts badly to the stress. by blaming the referees and the coach and his teammates, but not realizing his own follies, his own shortcomings. We'll take some more lines. The face in the mirror looked exactly like me. Whose face is the poet referring to? The poet is referring to his own face that he sees in the mirror. What does the poet begin to understand? Explain. The poet starts understanding that the fault is his and there is a lot of room for improvement and he could play much better. He should stop blaming others for his mistakes. What is the effect of the realization on the poet? So, the poet the poet stops treating his friends badly and starts focusing on himself and stops blaming others for his mistakes. I'm much better being me. Was the poet pretending to be someone else? Explain. The poet had been pretending to be someone great since he had been told since a young age that he would make it big, but he didn't see the faults in himself. Why does he decide to be himself? The poet realized that being himself, he understood his faults better and worked on improving himself, and in this way, he'd grow, which he liked better. How does this decision affect his life? Once he takes the decision to be himself, it makes him work better in a team and he starts playing better. He not only improves his game but also grows as a person in general. Why does the poet have such a good opinion of himself initially? Now, the poet had a sense of overconfidence from being told that he is great and that he has it in him to make it big. This gives him a sense of importance. That's why he has such a good opinion of himself. Why does he blame others when his performance is not good? The poet is incapable of finding fault within himself, believing that he can do no wrong, thus resorts to blaming others for his mistakes. I hope you must have understood the different lines of the poem and what the message the poet is trying to convey. So, this is all for today. Thank you.